I'm Margaret in Windsor, and the name I have to use is Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. I married a Childers. I was kidnapped in 1941 and brought to Moulton, Alabama from Buckingham Palace and given another name of a twin, Peggy Dempsey and Carl Dempsey. And both I found out Carl, I grew up thinking he was dead, but they gave me Peggy's name. It was later in '83 I found out that both of them were dead, and I even remembered uh, James Matthew was the only son in that family, and I believe there were seven sisters. He went off to the army, and I can remember him coming back, and it was a shack where I lived, not even a shack. It was so horrible what happened to me. But I remember being back there, and he came in a kind of a rage, and he went into the little kitchen area where his mom, the old grandma, and Lina Dempsey, the mother of the twins, the woman that I was told was my mother, and I always told her, even when she threatened me and did things to me, I told her, "You're not my mom." I couldn't explain it, but that I knew it even then. But when he went in there, he was screaming. I don't know if he just found it out. I don't know the circumstances. But he went in screaming at him, and I could hear part of it, but he was screaming. He said, "But you fed her to the pigs. You fed her to the pigs." Uh, there's an instance that I don't know why this happened. I don't know if it had anything to do with this. But they had bought, and believe me, they didn't have the money. They had gotten a hold of some. I remember it because they were white, the pigs, and they stood out. I'd never seen a white pig, and I don't know, there were several. And I do remember that later we they traveled in wagon. They didn't have a car for a long time. I remember we came back, and the pigs had been let out. You had to open the gate, everything, wiring, and so they had deliberately been let out, and they were strewn out there um, in front of the barn. They were all dead, and I can't remember if they were throats cut or what. Something was wrong, but they were dead, all of them. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. It's something I remember that they were upset about. Well, it was pigs that were dead. They're on a farm, but I think I know who did it. As a way of, I really do. He was a vet. So anyway, um, what I wanted to put up here was that, and I'm leaving out all the crimes they've committed. I wrote a book about mind control murders, and I've given that as way of reference. Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and they call him Larry. And you get into patterns that murders using mind control were done in, like Lawrence County is Moulton, Alabama, the county that Moulton's in, where they took me. The twins were murdered, and they murdered me every day of my life, and they used other methods to try to kill me later on. The Dempsey family, and of course the doctors, when I wrote about them, it was so high powered, and I didn't know my real name till '83 after the campaign. So anyway, Larry, or Lawrence McDonald, was U.S. Congressman, doctor at Piedmont Hospital, which gets tied up in all these murders. That one's Gene Strokerman, who was suing a psychiatrist for rape. I won't mention him. I've already put this up. It should be in court, or I guess it's been deleted, because she ended up. I did get a hold to the depositions, and my attorney Eugene Kaiser had been a Fulton County DA and was very well known, and he was one of the honest people, really. Uh, he took my case in the book and was going to do the legal on the book. And I went over there one day to see how it was going, and this is 76, 77. I've forgotten when Jean was, well, I've forgotten when she was killed. It was Christmas Eve, probably 77 perhaps. And I'm doing the book, and then Larry Flint's killed. I don't know the sequence, but she was murdered Christmas Eve. She had been, she had gone to Robicher, Jonas Robicher, who I've written about, a decent man, and he was murdered. And he was head of psychiatry and law at Emory University. He referred her to Eugene Kaiser, the attorney, and Jean tried to help her, but the police came in and took all the files, her files, except the deposition, which was illegal. I mean, he said, the attorney, and his former DA should have known. But anyway, she was murdered Christmas. She went to work for Dr. Hardiman, who becomes a participant in all this, and he's at Piedmont Hospital. So she's murdered in his office. And by the way, my husband, who I'm not real sure who he is now, if he worked for the CIA or what, but, well, he did, but I don't know what else his credentials were. But out of the blue, after I'm doing the book, and Jean Schroederman's killed, and I'm doing the book about her, and he's seemingly trying to help me. He goes to Dr. Hardiman, and Hardiman's a psychiatrist, so he had no reason, out of the blue, to go to this doctor that I'm writing about, the woman that's been killed in his office, that's suing a psychiatrist for rape. But anyway, he went there the one time, and he comes back and he tells me, and I know Dr. Hardiman through Carol Johnson, who was an head of, I don't know, Peachford Hospital. She was as high up as you can go almost, but they fired her because she was going to help me, well, with the book or some medical aspects. Well, she was also, other than being her degree in psychology, she had it in journalism. But anyway, there's connections there that she knew Jean Schroederman, who was murdered at the office of Hardiman. So she could link things together too by way of talking to me. Anyway, Hardiman becomes a party to all this, wanting me shut up because I'm writing about these cases. So I don't know if I've put enough up here. I've put it all up on YouTube and Facebook over a period of 5 years or more. And I wanted to say in this, the law enforcement that's involved. I had a letter from the U.S. Attorney, FBI, ongoing investigation, national security involved. That was June the 23rd of 79. So I'm almost killed April Fool's Day of 80, and I put all this up, and get in the campaign to replace Congressman Larry McDonald using the Lawrence Larry again. Because the plane he was on, the KAO, was shot down August 31st of 83. It veered into Russian airspace, which is the pilot. If they don't ever tell you about the use of mind control and the mass murders, shootings, they can mass control armies and make them go. It's that advanced. But anyway, the pilot was a seasoned. They even wrote a book I read later. He had all kinds of credentials. He was a good pilot. But I know exactly what happened. They had him programmed. He veered into Russian airspace, and they shot it down. So the plane went down en route from Juneau, Alaska to Seoul, South Korea, August 31st of 83. So I am a candidate in that campaign to replace him, and Larry, or Lawrence Flint, flew me out to his home. I'd never met him, but I had made the statements about his shooter was programmed to shoot him and kill his attorney in Lawrenceville, which is close to Marietta, where I was doing the book. Okay, this gets into, it's like ongoing, these can't be coincidences. You can say one or two of them are, but not. Then you get into no, that makes none of them are. When I got out to Mr. Flint's, he flew me out there twice in October of '83, and he helped me in the campaign. I found out that his first wife was named Peggy, and then his wife, they were nice. Larry Flint that I saw, whether that, some people say that Larry Flint was killed, and I heard, I didn't hear, an NBC guy a long time ago, after I came to Roanoke, told me that they had pictures of Larry Flint shot, and the Magnum was used, and his insides were all over the sidewalk, and he couldn't have lived. So, as far as I know, that was Mr. Flint when I was out there. He seemed to know everything about me. The first time I was out there, I just knew that his was a mind control murder. The first time I was out there, um, black limo, he owned a limo service. I got out there and I was kept penniless. And I thought, my God, he's paid Larry Flint, flew me out here, but what if nobody picks me up? I don't have any money. What am I going to do? And I've been blocked, just cut off from everybody. Nobody wants to get involved in it. So I had this man, black man, walk up to me with Mrs. on written in big letters, and he asked me, was not my name Childers? Well, of course, I wasn't finding out till later that it's Windsor, but anyway, I said yes, and he said, well, Mr. Flint sent him. So he took me out to the limo, and he gave me a card, his business card. He owned a limo service. I didn't think much about it until later. I did keep the card for a long time, but he told me, he said, Larry Flint was his best friend, and he said he had not been able to get through to him or see him since the shooting in Lawrenceville, Georgia in 78. He said, please give him my card because they called me tonight to come and pick you up. And he says, I'm wondering why. This is the only time there was any kind of contact since then. So I went into Mr. Flint's and was introduced, and he was in the library. And this is later at night that I got there. And he told me, he says, you don't have to say anything about yourself. I know all there is to know. He said, I know they were going to send you back a vegetable. And by that, he meant he knew about the antifreeze put in me April Fool Day of '80 and the hell that went on that I should have died. The fact of the matter is none of this has ever stopped, and that's why I was going to do this video, and it's probably run out, and I won't get to the point of it. Anyway, send me back a few months later, and the British Embassy has told me, other than I know who I am, and it's been the family, after I put that Dempsey family, after I put so much up on video, they admitted to it. Well, I know it. I started remembering, and there's no doubt in my mind, the Brits were there and Germans and saved my life through this whole mess. But anyway, they were going to send me back a vegetables, what he meant. But later, I'm going to skip. I've been talking about patterns, is how some of these murders were committed, mind control murders, because mind control is invisible, just like if I'm forced to inhale fumes, they're invisible. And how do I prove it? My body proves it, because over time, my kidneys, my immune system attacks itself, and my kidneys, other body parts are destroyed, the organs. My immune system attacks itself. So it's murder, but it's ongoing. So anyway, so none of it ever stopped. Nobody will touch it. And I guess I'm going to stop here because I wanted to ask this. This is what's been involved. If you, all these people out here, if a law enforcement pulled you over and let's say got your son driving without his license or drunk or had drugs found in the car, and they brought you into court and asked you to do them a favor in return for not prosecuting the son, if you would do it, and that would be, they would promise you immunity if you would commit a crime against me, would you do it? Now, this is what's gone on and what's made it work. People got into it, and committed crimes because they could get away with it and they didn't give a damn about me. Hey, she's a Brit. Hey, her mom may be from America, but she's a Brit. Our hands are clean. We didn't kidnap her. We didn't this and we didn't that. And so then they joined forces in committing crimes against me. To have a crime against them dropped or their kid not killed. Okay? I didn't do any of this to them. Somebody leaned over years ago and said to me they shouldn't kill the messenger. Well, I've been the person that's told you about the murders. I didn't commit them. I didn't kidnap myself. I didn't torture myself. You did. You and part of my family and the Jews, Rockefellers, that watch NBC, Rockefeller Plaza. It's almost in your face. Got the road sign, and then that's in New York, and you got your UN, which started after they kidnapped me. That's your global government. And they've got the Freemason office, home office there, I believe, in New York. So you got it all right there in plain sight, and nobody will even listen to it.